Will.
Well, hello, y'all. It is time to breathe again on the latest Breath of Fresh Air webcast, streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. So Patrick and I was over here. We were having a back chat, so that's why you heard him say, "Okay, you got him," or you didn't get him. But look, before we start, Patrick, I am representing Pro Epic here.
What's up,
Yes. Oh, and by the way, for a quick disclaimer, Patrick is not paying me for this endorsement.
He's just hooking me up because I've been hooking him up for 4 years on this show. Pro Epic, baby.
Now
this is what brothers do right here. We help each other out.
Exactly, and of course we will talk about what you have coming up later on in the show. But man, Patrick, we have a lot to cover on this show. I guess we normally do, but this one's going to be pretty loaded. So we'll jump right into it and start with Patrick, why are you looking back?
My screen keeps turning red, and I don't know why. See it?
Yeah. Do you have something red in the background?
Well, I didn't think I did.
Look the other way.
Oh, I do. I'm not a mirror. Jesus. Yeah.
So,
okay. Well, what were we doing? I'm sorry. Did we have a webcast coming up, Charles? I mean, like, can we focus on that part?
Yes, we did. It's all right, man. We just roll with the punches. That's how we do. It's funny that you were looking the other way. I was like, I think if you look on the other shoulder, look at the red. I was looking at it,
but it was right there. It was over this ear. Go here. Knew it was on that side. Whichever.
So Patrick, let's start with the Stanley Cup Final. And what a final it turned out to be. So when we came on here last week, we were talking about the Florida Panthers being up 3-1. Of course, they were up 3-0. Edmonton blew them out in game 4. After we went off the air, they won game 5, 5-3. Then they came back to Edmonton, won 5-1. And all of a sudden, we have a 7-game series, and the Florida Panthers were being on the wrong end of history, right in the face. But they came out and I think went back to what they do, Patrick. Forecheck, meat and potatoes, which was basically the reason why we liked Florida to win the Stanley Cup. And they went back to that. Defense, physical, forecheck, get a couple of breakaways. Well, not even really breakaways, just to get kind of throwing pucks at the net and making it work. And they ended up beating Edmonton 2-1 to win the first Stanley Cup in their history. Thoughts on how everything played out? And just, I mean, what do you see for Florida going forward, man? Because, I mean, this team is good. I mean, they're going to be running for a while. And so is Edmonton, to be fair. I mean, when you have Connor McDavid and Drysdale and those guys, Edmonton's still going to be in there. What Edmonton showed, though, I will give them this. They got more depth. They showed more depth than they have been showing. The third line stepped up huge for them. So Edmonton can make a couple of moves. I can see them being back in this position maybe next year, a couple of years ago, depending on how the rest of the teams do in the West, because we know the West is loaded in the NHL too. But yeah, this is about Florida, man. They get to celebrate. They got the Stanley Cup in South Florida, so who knows where they're going to end up going down in South Florida on South Beach, laid out somewhere in Miami. I mean, I guess it was in Fort Lauderdale today, but well deserved by them, man. Yeah. What's your thought?
So I'm going to start with Edmonton. And the only reason why I'm starting with Edmonton is because I want to give the Stanley Cup champions their rightful props after I talk about Edmonton for a second. Mm-hmm. This is what I see about Edmonton. They did show a lot of depth, which was not what they have, really. I mean, like, that third line is good. It's not Florida Panthers good, but it's good. They need to have they might need to get another winger. You know what I mean? And really solidify that third line. But if they were really smart, they would try to solidify that fourth line as well. And they're only a few players away. I mean, literally only a few players away. So I can see Edmonton coming back. Like you said, we got to see how the rest of the field plays out. But I can see Edmonton coming back, and if they don't solidify their third line, which is, like I said, it's a good line, at least solidify that fourth line. Because as they have played, they realize a fourth line is actually very vital to what it takes to be a Stanley Cup champion. And with the Panthers, they showed that. Now, I will say this: those last three games, or game 4, 5, and 6, I don't know what Panthers team was on that ice at any point in any of those games, because they really were kind of blowouts for all three of those games. This is the thing about Florida: stick to what got you to the Stanley Cup, whatever that may be, whether that is go like gun ho, you're going to play 4 lines, or you're going to play 3, wherever that goes. Stick to what you do. Those game 4, 5, and 6, they didn't. And Edmonton ran the ice on all lines. I mean, when you score 8 goals in a game, that's kind of bad when it comes to defense. And your goalie needs some help. I mean, I think there was one game they had like 38 shots on goal. I mean, come on. 40 shots on goal? Yeah, you're going to score. You gotta help your goalie. You gotta get into the dirty areas and give your goalie a chance to, or you got to get your blue liners in there to get your goalie an opportunity to see the puck. That puck's coming 100 miles an hour. You got to give him an opportunity to see it. And if you're just going to leave it out there for him to block one time and then not help him out in those dirty areas, that's what you're going to get. Either way the case may be, Game 7, they came back out and they did what Florida Panthers hockey does. And it's the reason why we favored them the whole time. I mean, they were a good team. So congratulations to them, man. I'm glad to see that they got their Stanley Cup. Fantastic team. And I truthfully, I suspect that we're going to see them in the playoffs come next year, because those contracts are in place. They're a good team. And I don't see any reason why they don't score 100, 110 points next year too. So they're a good team, and congratulations to them. Enjoy that South Beach parade that you're going to get. And 6 months or 3 months, 4 months, 5 months down the line, get ready to do it again.
Meat and potatoes, man. That's the thing we say about the Panthers amongst the other teams. They're the substance team. They're gonna be physical. They're gonna throw the puck in front of the net, and they're gonna choke you out on defense. Like that's what they have been doing to get to that point. I think what happened in 4, 5, and 6. So game 4, maybe they felt they would just come in there and Edmonton was going to roll over. Yeah, sometimes that has happened to when a team gets a 3-0 lead. The other team they're ready to go home. They're ready to just pack it away and go wherever. 1, 2, 3 Cancun, 1, 2, 3 Europe, whatever. They're ready to go. Edmonton, of course, did not do that, and got some confidence going. And the speed advantage Edmonton showed, I think it threw Florida off a little bit, because Edmonton did a good job of not letting Florida get into any type of offensive sets. If you notice, Patrick, they deflected a lot of passes. And the deflection of the passes, with the combination of Florida being a little sloppy with the puck handling, you saw a lot of odd man rushes for Edmonton, and you cannot give those up to them. Out of all teams, you cannot give up 2-on-1s, 3-on-1s, breakaways. Out of all teams, you cannot do that with them.
That's the start.
Yeah. And speaking of the start, that was key too. Florida scored first in Game 7. They had not been doing that in the last 3 games. And on top of that, with Edmonton having that momentum, Florida couldn't impose their will like they would, like when they are able to get a lead. And I know that sounds pretty simple. Yes, you want to be able to jump on a lead, but it is especially important for Florida because when they get a lead, they can get that defense set up and then that forechecking, and that's when it gets to the choking out phase. Like the way that game closed yesterday, they just choked the puck away in the corner. And that was it. Edmonton got nothing there at the end. And so I'm with you because they're meat and potatoes. You hear it in football all the time, Patrick. Their game travels. And no matter where they go, they can win anywhere, any home ice they can, because when you're defensive heavy and you can be physical and throw pucks in front of the net and impose your will that way, you can win anywhere you play. And I'm with you. Florida, I mean, they were in the Stanley Cup last year, lost to the Vegas Golden Knights, and here they are again. Now they're actually hoisting it, and it's going to be tough to knock off Florida going forward. I agree.
Yep.
Well, all right. Well, then let's move on. Again, congrats to the Florida Panthers for hoisting that Stanley Cup. And before we move on, I just want to say, look, the Stanley Cup is the best trophy in like anywhere. that trophy's impressive.
It's one of the coolest trophies, and that's really hard for me to say because I really like that World Series trophy.
I mean, your name gets written on the Stanley Cup. Your name gets
written on it, and it's a really cool trophy, and that trophy is there's only one. You know what I mean? There's only one. So, I agree with you. It's hard to beat that trophy. You would have to create another sport that has that same tradition. Just get that tradition.
Yes, the handshake lines. Everything about the hockey tradition, I really, really like and respect. Well, Patrick, let's get to your favorite sport. Speaking of MLB, and we're going to do a quick mid-season report card. It is crazy that we are almost halfway through the season already, but here we are, April, May, and almost the end of June. We'll start to get into July, August, and September for the second half. So let me go over here, Patrick, and I'm going to do a quick rundown of the standings. And we'll start in the American League where you have, so the American League East is looking like the only division that could be a competition going forward because the rest of them got some big leads in it. So with the American League East, the New York Yankees are up. Looks like two games up on the Baltimore Orioles right now. The Boston Red Sox are 8.5 back, and then the Tampa Bay Rays and Toronto Blue Jays bringing up the rear there. In the Central, the Cleveland Guardians running away with it, 8 games up on the next closest team, which is the Minnesota Twins. You have the Seattle Mariners. Now, that one is interesting because you know how we feel about the Texas Rangers and Houston Astros. Of course, the Rangers are the defending World Series champs, and they just got Max Scherzer back. If he can stay healthy, that could be a game changer for that. But as we stand, the Mariners are up 5.5 on those Houston Astros, 6.5 up on the Rangers. Sliding over to the National League, you have the Philadelphia Phillies, who are up 8 games right now on the next closest opponent, which is our next closest contender, which is the Atlanta Braves. We'll mention the Braves here in a little bit because I think so we were going to get to the Braves a little bit before the news about Willie Mays broke last week. So we'll get to that. And then in the Central, the Milwaukee Brewers have a 5-game lead on the Cardinals. The Cardinals have been playing pretty good baseball lately, so we'll see if they can keep that up. And then in the National League West, same story over there. The LA Dodgers, 8.5 up on the Padres, 10 on the Diamondbacks, and they're running away. So after all that, Patrick, what is catching your eye about this season so far? and what do you look forward to as we get ready for the All-Star break in the second half?
Well, you got trade deadlines that's going to come up. I mean, I really haven't seen anything that has really been like, oh my God, I got to keep an eye on that. A lot of these teams seem like they're pretty solidified right now. But what catches my eye, this is like, can the Seattle Mariners maintain this type of baseball play? That's my question. Can the Seattle Mariners do that? Because like once teams start having these struggles, like the Atlanta Braves, like and I know we're fixing to talk about them right here in just a second. Once they start having these struggles, they're not a team that's put together like the Astros or the Rangers, right? And the Astros have been playing some fantastic ball over the past week.
They righted the ship, man, because they weren't looking good. So
is Seattle good enough to fight off those two teams? That's going to be the question. So, I mean, I could probably come up with a bunch of questions throughout each one of them, like the American League East, right? That's a very competitive division right now. And I don't see Boston shying away from that. They're a good team. They have really good pitching going on, and the
Red Sox.
Yeah. So, and on top of that, Baltimore and New York on losing streaks. And New York hasn't really been playing that well over the past week and a half, almost 2 weeks now. So, I mean, the Yankees, I feel, are going to do what the Yankees do. They're going to go, oh, crap, they're catching up. Let's see how fast we can get 700 long balls real quick, right? And then they'll drop in the standings, and then it's going to be a fight between Baltimore and Boston. That's kind of how I feel about the American League East. I don't see Tampa or Toronto doing anything because they just have good teams. They have good players, but they're very disappointing. What's that?
Toronto's disappointing.
Yeah, they're just not meshing, dude. They just don't mesh well. I mean, bad base running, the pitching is off. The hitting is just, I mean, they hit right to the outfielders. I mean, like, even if you don't even have to play Toronto on a shift right now because they're not hitting anything else. They're hitting straight to center field, right field, double plays. They probably lead the league in double plays. I think I watched one game where they hit into 6 double plays in one game. They just excuse me. And they're not hard double plays. I mean, it's like right to the second baseman, field, toss. I mean, that's it. So I really kind of struggling. The reason why Toronto is having a problem because that team is pretty legit. I mean, it's a good team. They're just not playing well right now. Guardians probably going to run away with that. I could see that one by the end of the season being 17, 18, 19 games because I just don't see anybody in that division that's that good. Seattle, I really do feel like they're going to fall off, and it's going to be a fight between Houston and Texas again. And I still have Texas winning that division, so I'm totally fine with that. National League East, it's probably going to be between the Braves and the Phillies. But the Braves have got to get past this whole can't beat the Phillies thing. They got to get past that. If they can't get past that, then they might as well just chalk it up and be second best. And I had a lot of people tell me, "Ooh, you lost Ronald Acuna." I was like, "You do realize the year we won the World Series, we didn't have him." Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. And honestly, crazy enough, we're playing better without him.
My thunder, stop it.
Huh?
It's okay. It's all right because that was going to be part of the point too. So yeah, we're just thinking alike. It's all good.
No. And you know what's crazy is Atlanta's playing better without him. That's crazy. Central, the Cardinals look good, man. Like I've seen them play, but Milwaukee's playing right there along with them. So it's going to be a fight between Milwaukee and St. Louis, and the Dodgers are going to run away with the West. So
there is a couple of teams that I was looking at, like they're starting to get it going. Like you mentioned, the Houston Astros, they're starting to round into shape here, and they'll be a factor. I mean, that in some way, shape, or form, the Astros, they're not going anywhere. The Rangers, like I said, they just got Max Scherzer back. We'll see if they get DeGrom back, and maybe you just need to just shut him down for the first half of the season and have him pitch the second half, and then maybe he could stay in there. But if he does, then you got a 1-2 punch of Scherzer and DeGrom to go against anybody else that they're able to make the playoffs. You'll take that if you're.
You can get about another 25 wins out of both of them in the second half.
Yeah, you'll take that.
I'll take that all day long. You know what I mean? Because as soon as you get that 1-2 punch back, then 3, 4, and 5 tend to fall in place.
Yeah.
You know,
not as much on those 3, 4, and 5 pitchers when they've had to be 1-2 because of the injuries. Absolutely. And with the Atlanta Braves, so you had mentioned earlier, the year that the Braves won the title, 2021. Yeah, they did not have Ronald Acuna. Now, I would never say the Braves are a better team without Ronald Acuna. But what I think happens when Acuna goes out, and I mean, look, again, he's a phenomenal player.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, just
one of the best in MLB. I mean, when you put up the numbers that he put us up, whether that's hitting, home runs, stolen bases, whatever, he's a phenomenal player. Like, this is probably one of the best players I've seen stealing bases since Ricky Henderson. And honestly, probably better than him. You know what I mean? So, no, I will not argue with the fact that he is right up there with some of the best players to ever play the game. Absolutely.
And I think with Acuna out, these other players are stepping up. Now, there's another injury that the Braves suffered, another season-ending injury that's really, really crucial, and that's the injury to Spencer Strider, the pitcher. Now, granted, Chris Sale has been ridiculous for the Braves, and I guess this was the guy that the Boston Red Sox wanted. But, man, he has showed up in Atlanta and has become the ace of that staff. But Atlanta still has a lot of players, even with Acuna out. You have Olsen. Ozuna has stepped up big time. Austin Riley. I mean, you still have a lot of Baez. You still have a lot of guys on that team. And maybe this is the role they just have to play. Right now, like you said, the Phillies they're kind of running away with things right now, 8 games up or 8.5 games up in the division, and the Braves are just kind of lurking. They're sitting there, they're doing their thing, they're taking care of their business, but they're still right there. And if they are able to get in a wild card situation of some sort and just play free, because nobody's really expecting a lot from the Braves. They know they're dangerous, but it's not like the Braves are running away with the East. They're winning 100 games, and it's like they should steamroll everybody. Now the Braves are just kind of under the radar doing their thing. And I think they could be really dangerous in that role come September and October. So there's a couple of teams. I mean, of course, the Yankees are going to get talked about. We mentioned the Rangers and the Astros. The Dodgers are going to get talked about too. But, yeah, the Braves and the Red Sox, sneaky.
Well, they're very dangerous teams. Very dangerous teams.
And the Orioles too.
And the Orioles, so Baltimore's a very dangerous team. Boston's a very dangerous team. Houston and Texas are very dangerous teams. Atlanta and St. Louis, dangerous teams. And that's not who you want. Like Philly, I'll be honest with you, I don't think Philly would want to see the Atlanta Braves without Ronald Acuna. I really don't. Now, like you said, I'm not sitting here going to tell you that the Atlanta Braves are a better team without him, but I will say this. They tend, like you were saying, they tend to play better as a team because they lost so much. When you lose 70 stolen bases, it means you have to be precise with your base running. When you lose somebody that is batting a 285 to 300, then you're a little bit more selective on those fastballs that are coming up to you. When you're missing, what did he hit? 40 home runs last year? 39? 40, 40. When you're missing 40 home runs, that base running, like I say, tends to get a little bit more precise. You're not having people reach out and try to blast balls. They're just trying to hit gappers at this point. Let's just score some runs and see where it plays. So when you start hitting those gappers and you start getting all of this gameplay, when they lost Ronald Acuna last year, everybody was like, they're done. But people tend to forget, like they only scored 80. They only won 88 games last year, or that year in the 2021. They only won 88. When they went in, they were 20 games under 500 going into All-Star break. If that tells you anything. And they actually came out 88 and 74 or something, 88 and 73.
Yeah, the Dodgers won. I think the Giants won 107, and the Dodgers won 106 games that year.
Mm-hmm. And the Braves came out, and they just played ball. Not big on home runs, not big on any of that stuff. Just played ball. And guess what? That's what they're doing again. And except for this time, they're not doing it with Freddie Freeman. They're doing it with Olsen. And Olsen, I always thought Olsen was a better hitter than Freeman. It's just Freeman just had timely hitting, and when he blasted that one home run when they were down by 2 to give them a tie game in the bottom of the 8th, it was just timely hitting from Freeman, and he's still doing that in LA.
Yeah, he's just a clutch player.
He's just a clutch player, man. Do I hated the fact that he went? Yeah, but to play that price tag, you couldn't afford him and Swanson. You couldn't afford either one of them. Atlanta's not that big time city that can afford those kind of players. You can only get one in Atlanta. So the fact that we have both of them for that year was freaking phenomenal. But and everybody knew Dansby was leaving, and when his wife got that job in Chicago, everybody knew he was leaving. Like, no, you couldn't offer him enough money. You know what I mean? So it's going to be an interesting year, but those teams are dangerous. Those teams are dangerous, and to be honest with you, the one you need to really watch right now, Cardinals. Those Cardinals are sneaky good.
Yeah, the Cardinals have been playing some really good ball, and I got to watch them a little bit for last Thursday's game in Rick Woodfield in Birmingham, Alabama for the salute for the Negro Leagues, and of course Willie Mays had passed away a couple of days before. That leads me to this, Patrick, because I don't know if you got to catch it.
I did not. It just got so busy for me on work that I just didn't get the chance.
So did you see? Well, okay. First of all, Fox Sports, I got to say, they did a really good job with the game. I mean, they had a segment where they went back to 1954, and there was no replays, there was no nothing. It was black and white on the old school TV and the antenna. I thought they did a really good of the presentation, getting the field ready for the game down in Birmingham.
Oh,
they did a good job.
I did see that. Shout out to that ground crew. Holy crap. Did you see all the stuff they had to go through? I did see a lot of that. Man, just the transformation of that field. Whew. And I looked at it and I was like, man, that's such a beautiful field.
Yeah, I mean, they did. It was just a really good presentation. MLB deserves a lot of credit for putting together that game, and I think it's going to be something they do every season going forward. So that's something that I would definitely like to see that continue. And also, Patrick, so did you catch the Reggie Jackson interview?
No.
Go see it if you have it. And I encourage anybody else to go see it, whoever has not seen it. But that was, I'll tell you this, Patrick, that was as raw and as candid as an interview as you will see. When Alex Rodriguez asked him the question about coming back to Birmingham, after some of the stuff he went through. This is during the 60s civil rights movement, early 70s. The candid nature of how he was describing things was something to see. I encourage you to watch it, man. It's about a 3-minute part of that interview, and it was Reggie Jackson talking about what he was going through when he was down there in Birmingham, how he was playing. Gosh, I forget who he was playing for. I can't believe I can't remember this right now. But he was down there around the time when, like I said, civil rights movement. They're coming into games in Birmingham, and of course, we know Willie Mays played for the Birmingham Black Barons. But when they went down to Birmingham, he was talking about how teams were telling him he can't stay in this hotel. The N-word over there can't stay. And I mean, he was just telling this story and painting that picture. It was just so real and raw. And it's just a reminder of how far things have come. You still have ways to go, of course, but it was just a reminder of what he went through and what a lot of those players went through, going back to Jackie Robinson, going back to Larry Doby, Willie Mays, and just the treatment they were getting back then. And then he gave a shout out, Reggie Jackson did, to all the players like Raleigh Fingers and the manager for the team, saying, just to stand by them. And these are white guys. And they're sitting there and they're standing next to him like, hey, well, shoot, if you don't want us here, that's all right. We'll go somewhere else where we are wanted as a team. Because they didn't look at Reggie as a black man. They looked at him as a baseball player. And that's all you ever want when you're doing things. Like, it's not about color, man. I mean, we're all human beings, first and foremost. Like, no matter what, if you want to say you're an American, you want to say you're you're from Japan, or you're Japanese, or whatever nationality, Mexican, Indian, whatever, we're all human beings first. And we are in this world together, and the differences we have are what make us unique. It shouldn't separate us. And I just thought that interview with Reggie Jackson on Fox Sports, the pregame show before the game between the Giants and the Cardinals, was something to see, man. So yeah, I encourage everybody, if you have not seen that interview, go catch it. Patrick, go catch it. It is raw. Really,
I will watch it and be ready for the next webcast. I'll tell you what I think.
Cool.
I'll watch the whole thing. I won't watch that 3-minute bit. I'll go back and watch the whole thing, and I'll give my thoughts, because like you said, we've came a long way. We do have a long way to go, and that's not just. And I'll say it, and people will probably be like, "Whoa, it's from white people, black people, Hispanics, everybody. Everybody needs to put themselves in a reality check, because it's not just white people that are racist. Everybody are, and this whole thing of privilege needs to go away, because nobody's privileged. Nobody's privileged, not in today's society. And if you really want to get rid of racism, go on that little thing that everybody calls a resume or a loan application, and take race out and go strictly on merit. How far has this person come? We'll put the right people in place. So that's what it is for me. I don't give a crap if you're white, black, Hispanic, midget. I don't give a crap. If you could come into my place of business and do the job right, I got no problem. No problem. So you really want to get past it, go that direction. We'll see how fast race starts going away, because that's what needs to happen.
All right, man. I'm interested, definitely, to see your thoughts once you see.
I'll watch it.
All right, cool. And So I have a couple more items. This is sitting here. I was just looking at the list. Okay. So we will go over here to we'll start with the NFL, and then this will go into the bigger picture. So with the NFL, Patrick, I don't know if you've heard, but they are in the middle of a $21 billion lawsuit, which is basically about.
Why does this not surprise me?
I mean, look, the NFL is kind of a monopoly. You know that. So,
Well, they're not. They're actually. This is the one sport that is actually starting to not be a monopoly.
Yeah, that's funny. Funny that you say that. But, but I guess this is over broadcast, like the airing, mostly over Sunday Ticket and games. Sunday Ticket operates where you can see all the games except for the ones in your local market, which a lot of times in the local market they'll be showing on what they were getting blacked out in some cases too. Mm-hmm. And so normally it's supposed to be those local market games will get shown on whatever the station is, CBS or Fox, if it's between that 1 Eastern and 8 Eastern time frame.
Yeah.
These games are getting blacked out and the local markets couldn't see them. And there's people coming after the NFL, and now they're in the midst of a $21 billion lawsuit. So, I look at this.
That's so stupid, dude. You say I'll have to come up with my own comments here in a minute, but I don't know why this doesn't surprise me. Anyway,
it shouldn't. Truthfully,
God, only NFL can shoot themselves in the foot and think that shooting themselves in the foot again would fix it.
And Patrick, here's the reason why the NFL can do this. Because they've been getting away with it so long. And we know football is king in this country. Mm-hmm. So if you are the Premier League with the premier sport, most people are going to say, we don't care. As long as we can see the games on Sunday afternoons or whenever they're showing games, Monday night, Thursday night. I mean, they're going to be on pretty much every night this year. But during the week,
Wednesday night,
mm-hmm.
Friday night.
But that's why they say, well, look, we can do that because no matter what, people are going to watch. And why would they think any differently? Again, we talked about the figures. This is a over $20 billion per year industry. Mm-hmm. $20 billion. And it is hand over fist, people trying to get their piece of the pie. But as long as that check clears, as long as people are still watching, they don't really care. And so they can do these lawsuits. And look, I mean, $21 billion. If I could just experience a tenth of that money,
I can get 1/1,000,000th.
Yeah, right. That would be great. That would be awesome. But there's a huge chunk of change that's coming in this lawsuit. And people I guess Roger Goodell, he was there. He has testified. Our man, I don't have time to have that time.
Jerry
Jones has testified. So it is bad. And I mean, Goodell's over here. I mean, I guess so there was something where ESPN wanted to buy Sunday Ticket. Now, of course, we know it's been on DirecTV and now Google/YouTube has it. But I guess ESPN wanted to put a bid for Sunday Ticket, but the NFL wouldn't let them reduce the price for it. And so ESPN was like, well, dang, if you ain't gonna let us reduce the price for it, then screw it. I mean, they still got the partnership, of course, with them, but it's stuff like that. So it's like the NFL is saying, nope, we want to keep these prices up here, and unless you're willing to do that, then nope, you will not buy a Sunday ticket, which goes into what we were talking about last week about the fandom and how people are being priced out of these games, whether it is through an app, whether it's through Sunday Ticket, or whether that is you going to the games in general. And that's every sport to a degree. But the NFL, it does seem to be a little bit more. And it's just sad because you watch these games and certain stadiums, they still bring that presence. You're watching the game on TV and you could feel that crowd noise. They're into it. They're still there. And you could have you can tell that the fans, the true fans who are there, that there's still a presence there. The crowd noise is still there. The crowds are still into it. But I've told you this before, Patrick. As all y'all know, I used to be in Dallas Fort Worth. I would go to AT&T Stadium to some of these Dallas Cowboy games, and I used to work in the stadium as well. You walk around and you just see what's going on there. The Cowboys game, the actual game, is almost like the side piece. That is not what it's supposed to be. It is you're supposed to be there for the game, but literally, it is. Yeah, right.
It's like a mall with a football game going on.
Yeah, exactly. And then when you if you watch a Cowboys game on television, and even if you're at the stadium, you can tell that, like I've always said, that is the quietest group of 90,000 people I have ever been around, ever. And it is like a museum being in that stadium at times, where it's just super, super quiet. But everybody else is over here, all the fans, quote unquote, they're mingling. They're over here, they're holding this business meeting over there. They're networking to somebody over here. And then all the tickets, particularly the ones that are in that lower level, that lower bowl, I'd say maybe the 1-200 level of each stadium, they're bought out by the corporates. So your higher ups, your true fans, they're out there. They're up there on the 4th level. They're on the 400 level.
Either that, or they're out there in the parking lot watching it on a little TV just to enjoy the tailgate.
Yep, and tailgating, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're like, well, shoot, we just want to be in the atmosphere, but we're gonna sit here, we're gonna grill these ribs, and
and while everybody's in there doing that, we're gonna be munching on ribs, playing cornhole and table darts and all that kind of dude, which is honestly is a great time.
I would rather do that, truthfully. I'd rather tailgate, absolutely. I love tailgate.
Now, unless it's the Georgia Bulldogs, and then, well, but here's the thing. This is the difference out of the North and the South. During the South, down here, where we are, we're college football people. This is where it's at. You know what I mean? You go up north, it's all about the NFL. But you come down here, everybody's like, well, I guess I like Alabama. You guess?
Yes. What? Yeah.
What do you mean you guess? You don't guess on a college football team. But if we go up to the north, everybody's like, well, who do you like? I'm like, I like the Atlanta Falcons. Man, all day long. But you ask me, do I watch NFL or college? College all day, baby. I mean, dude, you saw my house. We college it up down here.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happens in the NFL? Yeah, we'll watch it. We'll peep it. We'll see where it's going. But on Saturday, it's on lock.
Yeah. which, hey, I'm all about that too. Hey, college football. Hey, that I agree that's where it's at down south. And
you see how you've been in my house. We got a game on the living room. We got 2 games are going on in the game room, and I got a game going on in the garage.
Yes.
Which game you want to watch? Just pick a room.
Yeah. Yes, man. And I mean, it's just that, and college football too, man. I mean,
And it's starting to get to a point where it's being priced out.
Yes, it's so much a business now, and these leagues are going to get canceled out, let alone the fans. But leagues like conferences are going to start getting canceled out. It's basically let the big dogs eat. So if you're not the SEC, the Big 10, the Big 12, and the ACC, I mean, hell, Patrick, we already saw the cannibalization of a Power 5 conference in the Pac-12. So unless you're in those conferences, man, it doesn't look sustainable. You might be all right going for a few years, but with all the money that is coming in from the expanded college football playoff, I mean, they're already talking, like, I mean, we're at 12 teams now. So we skipped 8. We went from 4 to 12, just like that. And they're just trying to get more power conference teams in there. So we, like, before, when we had this conversation, we would talk about what group of 5 team would get in there, whether it's Conference USA or the Mountain West or one of those conferences, the American Athletic Conference, one of those conferences. But I mean, now it's just like, we don't really know, because it's just all about the Power 5s. And so, like you said, the colleges, it is definitely I mean, it's pro football. I guess more on an amateur level ish. But when schools
it's
can
triple
now,
it's AAA football.
Yeah. when schools can directly pay the players, it's pro football now. And that's another reason why it does not look good for those group of 5 conferences going forward. Because look, we know the Power 5 conferences, they're going to rake in money. We already know that. They got these ridiculous TV deals that's going to help with that. So we know they're going to rake in money. But those other conferences, that money's not going to be there like it would be for the Power 5s or Power 4. It might be Power 2 going forward.
Because by the end of the year.
Because I do think the ACC is probably
it's just going to be a North and South. It's going to break up into a North and South. So you're going to have the North Conference and the South Conference, and then it's going to be just like in pro. You're going to have the Northwest, North Central, Northeast, Southwest, South Central, Southeast. And it's just going to be, these teams are grouped here, here, and here, and they'll travel amongst the South, and these teams are grouped here, and they'll travel amongst the North, and then they'll find a location and play the Super Bowl. I'm sorry, National Championship.
Yep.
National Championship / Super Bowl. National Super Bowl. There you go. The National Bowl. They'll call it the National Bowl.
They're going to change the name.
Yeah, they're going to call it the National Bowl.
It's sad, man, because fans are getting priced out, and these smaller schools getting priced out as well. And everybody.
Did you hear about how many small schools are closing their doors? I mean, there was a college somewhere. Their team was in the runnings for the College World Series, Division II College World Series. And the players stayed playing even after the college had closed, and they kept playing. And they had no money, so their parents were like forking over the money to get them to travel. And they were like, it was their last run, dude. I mean, like, they're never going to get to run with that team again. And all those kids are going to have to separate and go to another college. And colleges are getting priced out because they can't afford all of this stuff. And then on top of that, the reason why half of them are even having to close is because all this freaking, and I don't know where this is coming from, but it's coming from the government. I can tell you that, when they're like, oh, well, we're just going to forgive all the college debt. What? How are we going to forgive college debt? That means these colleges are going to close their doors, and then we're all sitting here talking about, oh, our unemployment is going through the roof. Wonder why?
Yeah, that's
a topic for another day. That's what that is. I'm about to go on a rant.
That's one swoop motion there, just to get rid of all debt. Like that's
it's like, you know, we've had this conversation. They're like, oh yeah, we're going to lower taxes on this.
They just move.
We're going to lower the taxes over here and raise them over here. Guess what? It's the same.
Yeah.
The IRS is like, oh, we got a great idea. What's your great idea?
Yeah.
I would love to know what stupid great idea you got. And you know how I feel about the IRS, so I'm not even going there.
We'll back it. All right, man. One more. Yeah, we'll move on because that's another topic.
We'll put a pin in that one because
one more quick topic, man. Well, a couple more. So real quick, like I don't think we need to spend too much time on this, but I do think it's funny. So the LA Lakers, so they hired JJ Redick as their coach. Now,
I thought was very comical.
now,
moving on.
For me, I don't understand why everybody's so upset about this. Like, people are sitting here, they're throwing all this. Oh, I can't believe they hired a guy with no coaching experience. He was just in the booth. He was working at ESPN.
Come on, Steve Kerr didn't have any coaching experience when he got a job.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Steve Kerr. Yep, no coaching experience, won a title first year. And so, look, I put it. I'm not saying that's going to happen with the Lakers, but I will also say that the Lakers' job is not as cancerous as everyone makes it out to be. Like, I heard the job was a mess. Now, remember that the Lakers almost had Dan Hurley from UConn, but Hurley decided to stay. Now, what the Lakers have, they have a lot of young players. Obviously, they have LeBron, but LeBron's going to be going away soon. I mean, he's not. Now look, Now if you're one of these people who think LeBron is not going to want a farewell tour, get out of here with that. That dude is going to want a farewell tour.
He's going to want one this year and the year after that.
Yeah.
He's going to want a going away tour for the rest of his life every year.
He's going to want a farewell.
I don't know if I can deal with
it. But the hire of JJ Redick, I personally like the hire for this reason. It's not a retread. How many times have we seen these same dudes get the same jobs over and over and over again, and they're getting fired 3, 4, 5 times, and all of a sudden here they are with their 6th opportunity to coach a team? Get somebody in there with a fresh set of eyes who hasn't had any coaching experience and see what they can do. See if they can build the team up a little bit. Obviously, you have LeBron and AD there, but you have a lot of other young players that are locked up for some deals, and you're going to have to start that transition anyway to where you're going to have to just start over and get out of that LeBron era. So get a new guy in there, sign him to a 4-year deal. I mean, it's not as like a player signing a 4-year deal, and then when things don't work out, they want to go ahead and request the trade. But coaches will stay at least 2 years.
Yeah. Maybe.
But I just thought, Patrick, I just thought it was just so comical. How everyone was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe JJ Redick got the job." Why? Well, we want Monty Williams to continue to get jobs. I mean, this dude got fired from the Pistons. He was fired from the Suns, and nothing against Monty Williams. I think he's okay, but can we get new people in there?
Yeah, we need new people. You know, like all these people. What's his name? Popovich. Who else?
I mean, well, Popovich. You know, I mean, he's stayed in San Antonio, so that's cool. Like, I mean, he's
But
he's not fired and then just getting all these other.
But he needs to go. They need to relinquish power and get some new blood in there. That's what I'm saying. Get that old ass out of there and put somebody new in it.
And I don't mind Popovich because again, like he's been there, right? So he's
like one of the least. But everybody else, like, get your old ass out.
Popovich ain't going nowhere. He got Victor Wembanyama on the team. He ain't going nowhere now.
And if he does, guess what? He's going to move a couple of seats down the bench, and he's going to recruit the team. That's what he's going to do. He ain't going nowhere. He's going to be there. He's a lifer.
So yeah, man. So I just wanted to get that in there real quick. But before we go, let's give a shout out to the College World Series, both women and men, because we didn't get to give props to the women either.
Yeah.
So with the men, props to that Tennessee team. They were the best team all year. Number 1 seed, won the SEC tournament, won the regular season title, and now won the World Series title. Great 3-game series with Texas A&M. Won the final game 6-5. Yeah,
I was yelling because so Texas A&M was actually my preseason pick, and I've been riding high with them all season. So everybody asked me like, who you got, Tennessee or Texas A&M? I was like, man, it's hard for me to go against that Texas A&M team since they were my preseason pick.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's like, Tennessee's going to win. I was like, look, it wouldn't surprise me either one of those teams win. They're good. Both of them are good. And that, but man, that relay. That was just a beautiful relay, and the dodge, man. I was like, "Oh, he got him! He got him!" And as soon as he slid, I went, "Oh, Tennessee just won."
Yeah,
but that was a hell of a game, dude. Hell of a series, and probably one of the best World Series I've seen in a long time. And that's coming from a Georgia fan who got put out by NC State. But
NC State.
This was good. I liked it. I liked because it was taking almost every ounce of every team to win every game. You know what I mean? And we haven't seen that in the College World Series in such a long time, where it was just everybody was scrapping, and you really could not just pick a team that was going to be good, except for like Tennessee, Texas A&M, Florida State. There's a couple of them that were just, but look how far Florida came, and they weren't even ranked.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So it was just good baseball, man, and there were some blowouts, but a lot of times this was the cream of the crop, man. And I can tell you, but it comes baseball draft. These 32 teams are going to be like, they should be drool coming from their chins with all these players, man. He got some good players coming out into the draft this year, and it's probably one of the best drafts I've seen in a long time. So yeah, shout out to that Tennessee team to win Texas that third game over Texas A&M, and hell of a season for Texas A&M as well. So congratulations to both of those, but super big congratulations to those Volunteers for taking it home.
And over on the women's side, on the softball side, but
hey,
but Oklahoma, Texas North, they can't be beat. It's the 4th year in a row they have won, and the team, and look, in this year they caught some L's, faced a little bit of adversity, but they retooled on the fly and got it done. They beat us in the final series 2-0, and before they got there, they had to come from behind and knock off Florida. They were down in that game, and that was an elimination game, but they were able to rise up, put it together. They got a extra inning home run to put them over the top, and then they knocked us out in their 4th in a row. So props to that Oklahoma team. What they got up there going is nasty. And
it is special, dude. I don't know what they're feeding them girls, but man, I wish they'd feed it to Georgia. But no, dude, huge shout out to what Oklahoma is achieving up there, man. It is something special to watch because they're good, and they're good year after year after year. And like you said, this is their 4th year in a row. It's hard to even go against them. It's going to be hard for Oklahoma to win next year, but I can tell you, they're going to be in the same position next year too. They're that good, and they got a lot of young talent coming in as freshmen. And I mean, it might be a little bit more difficult with them, when them coming to the SEC next year. It's going to be a little bit more difficult, but they're good. They're good, and there is no. I don't even know what else to say. Is that they're freaking good. They're good. 4 in a row, man. 4 in a row. I'm like, but huge shout out and congratulations to them, because man, they're killing it up there.
Well, Patrick, on that note, that will wrap it up. So that is what we are breathing on today on this latest Breath of Fresh Air webcast. Y'all make sure y'all check out the Breath of Fresh Air YouTube channel, smash that subscribe button, and follow the Breath of Fresh Air Facebook page. Patrick, you wearing the Bro Epic shirts? What does Bro Epic have coming up?
So we are doing some filming on a baseball show this weekend, and then we're going to take a couple of weeks off, and then we're going to do a special hide and seek show. It's going to be entertaining, but you know how it is. Everything's a challenge for us. So hide and seek, and then challenges in the middle. So you know how it's going to be fun to watch. It's going to be fun to film. It's going to be fun to do. So be on the lookout in the next couple of weeks for that latest Breath of Fresh Air, that latest Bro Epic. Dude, there's too many B's. Look out for that latest Bro Epic baseball edition. It's gonna be a lot of fun because we're incorporating blitzball.
Yep. I remember you telling me about that and showing me a clip of it. Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
That blitzball is insane.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, it hurts to get hit by one, and I got some kids that's gonna be throwing it at each other. It's gonna be fun, and all I'm gonna do is sit there and go, ooh, ooh, ooh. I might get traded, bro. Seriously,
you might get traded.
I might get traded. Hey, shout out to Andrew Bottom. I might be with you. I'm getting traded.
So on that note, that will wrap it up. So everybody, take care. Enjoy the rest of the week. And we'll be back next week. So again, everyone take care. Talk to you soon.